Tonight, Titans and Steelers. Now, the Titans are getting 3 points on some books. The Steelers are favored by 2.5 on some books. Those are the best lines available right now. This dude, Jeffrey Simmons, needs to be mic'd up every single week because he was last week, and there's just more footage rolling out of him being awesome and a guy that needs to be appreciated and respected a lot more. Speaking of that, how about this young buck? Fresh off a 4-touchdown game, Will Levis will go into Pittsburgh and take on a daunting Pittsburgh Steelers defense in a stadium full of Yinzers that can't wait to say, "Oh, mama, I'm in here all my life from the long of the law." Pittsburgh's going to be rocking tonight. And the reason why? That number 90 down there, TJ Watt, probably going to get introduced last this evening on this primetime game. He is, what, 1 sack away? 2 sacks away?
I think it's one.
I think 1 sack away from passing his brother in the most sacks in the first 100 games of your NFL career. He would go into second all time. This dude is breaking records and is loved in Pittsburgh. And tonight, I think, is going to be one of those situations where you see TJ Watt leading the chorus of Yinzers, having a night that he can only dream of. And then Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada will have that rifling offense on display for all of us to watch, while Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels and Kaylee Hartung have all the coverage on Amazon Prime. Kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern with Carissa Thompson, Fitzmagic, Big Wit, Richard Sherman, Tony Gonzalez, Michael Smith, Taylor Rooks, Marshawn Lynch. Should be a great night to kick off Week 9. I'm very lucky to be here. Michael Lombardi will be here today. Coach Nick Saban will join us. Big one against LSU this weekend. Huge. Basically for the SEC West right now. You lose this one, either of these teams, going to be out of the conversation for the SEC championship, which is obviously a propeller into the college football playoff, even though you have to stare down that daunting Georgia Bulldogs football team. Probably, we shall assume. Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, will join us at 1:30. They got a new quarterback. They got a new quarterback. Obviously, Kirk Cousins was doing his thing. They trade for Josh Dobbs after the Achilles is torn by Kirk Cousins. He got a surgery done, not by Elitrosh, the guy in L.A., but remember, Aaron Rodgers told us, he's not in a hurry. He's not in a rush. He has no chance of making it back this season. So his surgery, different than my surgery. Aaron got the surgery that he got in hopes to get back sooner. The rehab that he's going for is everything like trying to get back as fast as possible. Kirk Cousins has he has a lot more time.
Yeah, plenty of time.
And who knows where he's playing next year.
True.
I mean, there's a lot of conversation. Kirk had a successful surgery. Big thumbs up for him. We're pulling for him. But anyways, we'll talk to Kevin O'Connell in the second hour. And then third hour, we got the General Bob Carpenter.
Nice.
We got the Toxic Table here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Sweet shirt there, pal.
Yeah, I haven't really worn the dog that often. I felt like, Week 9, like you mentioned, it's not the dog days of football, but you can kind of see the end of the regular season tunnel, which isn't good. So happy dog. Just trying to kind of reiterate that.
I thought you potentially wore that because we have a segment debut today. On our YouTube channel, not on the ESPN commercials, from our friend Pac-Man Jones called Undercover Dogs, which is going to be a good segment. Cannot wait for the people to see it. It'll run second hour, I believe, on YouTube. It's a pre-recorded piece, so it'll run as like a commercial. It was good to see old Pac again.
Yeah.
Great. I think he had a movie last night debuting one of his rap albums. He's got something going out there. Great to see him. And I think you guys are going to appreciate the Undercover Dog segment as well. One half of the Hammer, Dahn, Cowboys, Tone Diggs. Tonight, we're staying in a primetime game, which means
under.
That is because the under on primetime games this season is 19-7 right now. On the entirety of the season, it is...
Oh, for the under, 71, 50, and 1.
So there's been a lot of good defense being played on this particular year. 36.5 is the line. As the low. You start doing the math. Each team's got to score by 18 points. That's not a lot of points. To the Chiefs and Eagles last year averaged over 29 points a game. They're the ones that ended up in the Super Bowl, obviously. The Colts have scored over 20 points every single game this year. They're the only team to do so. They have not won. So for both teams to be under 20 is the expectation of the over-under. Feels like it's going to be a sloppy one. The under is hit in most primetime games. Joining us now is a guy who might be able to tell us why that is the case. A guy who coached football for 36 years, 18 in college, 18 in the NFL. The People's coach, currently sitting at 6-2 against the spread on these Thursday night football games. Chuck Pagano. Chuck, primetime games, how come it seems to be a little bit tighter on these primetime games as opposed to maybe years past?
I don't know.
I like that.
Nice.
I like
Okay,
that.
same.
Does it ever feel, though, sometimes like the boys aren't showing up? Maybe a moment's too big. Is there a reason why some teams
I think
operate?
we talked about it. I'm just jacking around. But
I like that. A little
short week, injuries, you lose some guys, you don't get some guys back. You know, you got two good defenses here tonight. It's going to be fascinating to watch Simmons go at it. You mentioned T.J. Watt. Don't see a lot of points in this one. Like you mentioned, the under.
Feel good.
I feel really good about it.
Okay, it's a twofer maybe. He's already given out one of his picks. Remember, 6-2 against the spread on these Thursday night games. It has been fantastic to watch. And anytime I'm leaning a different way than him, I will listen to him and decide ultimately to go against it. That's why I've been like 3-9 and that whole thing throughout the last 3 weeks or so. Congrats on the incredible run. But whenever you talk about like Will Levis, obviously you're on the defensive side of the ball for most of your career. I assume all of it, coaching defense?
Yes.
36 years coaching on defense side of the ball, 18 in the NFL. Will Levis comes out of nowhere, seemingly, and has a monster game. We're all incredibly happy for him, especially with everything that happened. And I think revenge body season for Will Levis as well in his personal life, not 100% sure. I think that made its way around the internet as well. For him to come out, ball out in his first game, obviously awesome for him and for the future of the Titans. Vrabel's obviously coming, I mean, he hasn't really said anything, but Shefty came on and said, Will Levis plays good. It's his job. It's his job. It's his job. They're basically looking at the future with him. For the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, is one game enough to know what type of guy this guy's going to be as a quarterback in the NFL? Is there still the surprise potentially that we don't have a book on Will Levis on the defensive side of most of these teams?
That's a great point. And yeah, there still is. So they've watched all the college tape. They've talked to their scouts who evaluated this kid coming out. We all saw the talent, the arm that this guy, I mean, he's got a cannon, right?
Yeah.
And then the touch, the dimes that he dropped to D-Hop, unbelievable.
When he was coming out for the combine, didn't he say, I got a cannon, I'm going to show it off?
Yes.
He actually said that.
And he's got confidence, he's got swag, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. You know, he sat in that green room for
2 nights.
Long time.
I mean, a long, long time, right? So you know that festered, and it's been sitting in. And he was injured. They're saying, well, where was he? Why wasn't he the guy to go in after Tannehill got hurt and it was Malik? But he was injured. He was injured in preseason. So I think he's just back. He's healthy. He got a shot. He threw in Willis, and, I mean, the snap was hot and it was high. And he put it on the ground that last game. They were going to have him do a couple quarterback runs, and that's the last we saw of him.
Yep.
If that doesn't happen,
who knows if we
see these 3 tutties he threw to D-Hop.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And I think like the interesting thing about Will Levis is he was being viewed as a guy who was too intense. They couldn't get past his gimmick, is what a lot of people. That's why he was following. He seems to be too. He seems like the perfect guy for Vrabel.
Yeah.
Grew up in New England. I assume Vrabel hero, you know, but also Vrabel also super tough guy.
Scrapping.
So even if you were, and maybe it wasn't a gimmick with Will Levis, he is just like super alpha or whatever the case is. I'm not 100% sure if that's what you need to have at the quarterback position. It's like Vrabel being the head coach, perfect, and he's a New England guy, which is great news for, I think, all of Tennessee Titans fans.
Yeah, like Connecticut definitely grew up in the Vrabel era in New England, so I assume he is someone he's looked up to. But the other thing they were saying was like, hey, guys who come in that have the body that look like Will Levis, like they're usually not successful as quarterbacks, and that was because he was like too jacked. I don't know if that was, you know, across the board for most guys or not, but it's awesome. Is there a thought that maybe the Steelers just double D-Hop and see if he can do it without, you know, one of the better wide receivers in the NFL?
Mike Tomlin has had a lot of success on the defensive side of the ball in the NFL for a long time. I assume they will have a plan, but 2 people on D-Hop, 3 people on D-Hop.
True.
I don't think D-Hop cares about the amount of people, and I think D-Hop is very excited that there is a quarterback that says, all right, he's covered, who cares, I'm throwing. Now, granted, he was wide open on 2 of those, and the throwback across the body or across the field is absolutely absurd. But that one where everybody's talking about the offensive PI, that guy's literally right in his face, and Will says, to hell with it. Not everybody has that. Tannehill didn't have that. And I think JJ or I forget who told us, D-Hop might have won up to Will Levis before the game.
Yeah.
And was like, hey, listen. Yeah, Aaron, I think. Aaron said that D-Hop might have won up to Will Levis before the game and just said, hey, kid, here's the deal. Always open. Like, no matter what is going on in your life, always open. And if I don't catch it, nobody's catching it. So, like, if you just want to do something, throw it up to me. I assume D-Hop has told every quarterback that. That's why he's had like 1,000 yards with 11 different quarterbacks or whatever. But him and Tannehill, for whatever reason, were not able to get kind of jived and started at the beginning of the season. Great for football fans if D-Hop is going to be D-Hop again, by the way, this season.
Tomlin's 23-5 against rookie quarterbacks in his tenure with the Steelers. I don't know if that matters.
Why is that, Chuck? What does that mean? Why are Bill Belichick supposedly very good against?
They're going to get after him tonight.
How?
I mean, they can do a four-man rush, but TA likes to pressure. He'll bring 5 guys. He'll play man covers. The matchup I'm interested in is like you saw what D-Hop did, right? Was that Terrell, AJ Terrell, that he beat on that one?
Really.
He is unbelievable at drawing OPIs. He goes over the top, right, and then he starts to clear. Terrell's trying to lean and locate, and then he pulls his shoulder and pulls through, and you see he's trying to get the official, hey, look, this offensive pass, he's unbelievable at, especially a rookie corner like Joey Porter. I think Levi Wallace is injured.
Yeah, Joey also has earned a starting position. Mike Tomlin just said that like 2 days ago.
So he's going to go against him. My deal for Joey is get your hands on him, but don't get into a chicken fight down the field with him because he's got so much savvy and he's so smart, and he'll get him into a deal. And he'll draw a couple PI, and this same thing will happen to Joey. It won't happen to Pat P. Pat P will be on the other side because he's a veteran. He knows him inside and out. But for a rookie corner to go up against D-Hop,
it's going to be tough.
Yeah, knowing this team and this, they're gonna be fine with D-Hop beating them. They're gonna be fine with D-Hop and Will Levis beating them. They're worried about the end in the backfield run for 205 yards tonight is what they're going to be worried. I promise you that. They're giving up over 140 yards rushing a game. The defense is. They're gonna pack the box and make Will Levis do it again.
Yeah, but not in Pittsburgh. Can't happen prime time in Pittsburgh, right?
No.
Jackson, what ETN did with that ain't gonna happen again in Pittsburgh.
I've seen it quite a few times in the last couple of seasons. Cam Hayward's back, so.
That's huge.
Boom. Huge.
That is huge for against the run.
But I'm actually not worried about Joey Porter Jr. I'm actually worried about the other guy that you were talking about.
Pat P?
The other guy.
Yeah.
Patrick Peterson has earned the right to never be called the
Hall
other
of
guy.
Fame.
Just would like that on this particular program. Would like that to be known. Now maybe in your fanhood eyes,
I didn't want to use his name to say bad things about him
because you have so much respect for him.
Hit something underneath on him. He's not going to let him get behind him. He's not going to do that.
So let's go to the other side of the ball. Kenny Pickett and George Pickens have the opportunity to go over everybody's head.
Yep.
I mean, that it could. Will Matt Canada let it happen?